Welcome to Language Swap, everyone, a fun way to learn English. We are so excited to have you join us today.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sally. Today's episode is about two tiny words that cause enormous confusion, do and make.
If you've ever said make exercise instead of do exercise, or do a mistake instead of make a mistake, this episode is for you.
By the end of today, you'll actually know the pattern behind these two words instead of just guessing every time.
And I have a personal story about this that's genuinely humiliating, so let's get into it.
Okay, tell me the humiliating story first, because now I need to know.
I once told a coworker I did a cake for the office party instead of I made a cake,
Oh no, this already sounds bad.
and she looked at me genuinely confused and said, "You did a cake? Like, what did the cake do wrong?"
What did the cake do wrong? That's such a good question, actually.
I stood there for a solid 5 seconds, trying to figure out how to explain that I'd just made a very simple grammar mistake in front of the entire office.
Okay, so this is exactly why we're doing this episode. Do and make translate to the same word in so many languages, which means your brain has zero instinct for which one to use in English.
Right, in Spanish it's just hasser for both. One word covers everything.
Exactly. So English speakers had to invent a whole invisible rule that nobody explains clearly. And everyone just absorbs slowly over years of making mistakes like the cake one.
So what's the actual rule? Is there one? Or do we just have to memorize 500 examples?
There's a real pattern, and once you see it, you start noticing it everywhere. Make is generally for creating or producing something that didn't exist before.
So an object comes out of nothing.
Exactly that. You make a cake, you make a decision, you make a mistake, you make a plan. In every one of those, something new exists afterward that didn't exist before.
Wait, make a mistake. The mistake is created like an object?
In a strange way, yes. Before the mistake, it doesn't exist. After you make it, it exists. It's a small, invisible thing you've created, even though it's not physical.
That's such a strange way to think about mistakes, but it actually helps me remember it.
And do is different. Do is generally for actions, tasks, and activities, things you perform rather than things you create.
So, do the dishes, do homework, do exercise.
Exactly. None of those produce a new object. Dishes already existed. Homework already existed as an assignment. Exercise isn't a thing you create, it's an activity you perform.
Okay, that actually clicks for me. Make is for the result. Do is for the action itself.
That's a really good way to say it, actually. Make focuses on the outcome. Do focuses on the process.
Give me a pair of examples side by side so I can hear the difference clearly.
I made dinner, something new exists now, the meal. I did the cooking, the activity itself, no specific finished object being emphasized.
I made my bed. The bed is now in a new, finished state.
I did my chores. The chores were a set of tasks, and you performed them.
This is genuinely making so much more sense than how I've been guessing for years.
I want to share a story here, actually, because I think it shows how deep this confusion goes, even for people who've studied English for a long time.
Please, go ahead. I want to hear this.
I know someone who studied English for 6 years in school. Excellent grammar overall, but she once wrote in a work email, "I will do the presentation for the client tomorrow."
That sounds correct to me, honestly.
It is correct, actually, but only because presentation in that sense refers to the activity of presenting, not creating a new physical thing. The confusion came later in that same email.
What happened later in that same email?
She wrote, "I did the slides last night," when she meant she had created them from scratch. Her boss read it and thought she meant she had simply reviewed or presented existing slides, not built new ones.
Oh, that's such a small difference with such a big consequence. Everyone thought the slides already existed.
Exactly. Her boss asked in the meeting, so who actually created the slides then? And she had to awkwardly clarify, "I did. I made them last night."
The correction itself used the correct word.
It did, which shows she understood the difference instinctively when she slowed down. The mistake happened because she was moving fast and her brain defaulted to the word that felt safer.
That's such a relatable moment, honestly. When you're tired or rushing, the wrong word just comes out.
It happens to everyone in every language pairing. The goal isn't perfection. It's building enough instinct that you catch yourself and correct it quickly the way she did.
Okay, let's go through the specific categories, because I think a list of concrete examples will help more than the general rule alone.
Good idea. Let's start with make, because I think it has the more intuitive category, creation and production.
Make a cake, make a meal, make coffee, all food-related creation.
Make a plan, make a decision, make a choice. These are mental creations. Something new exists in your mind or on paper.
Make a mistake, make an effort, make progress. All slightly abstract, but still something being produced or generated.
Make money, make a profit. Financial creation. The money is generated through your effort.
Make noise, make a mess. Things you're generating, even if they're not exactly positive.
Make friends, one of my favorite ones actually, because it shows the pattern so clearly. A friendship is something that gets created between two people.
That's such a nice way to see it. Every friendship is something made, built between two specific people from nothing.
Now, let's cover do, which is more about activities, tasks, and general actions without a specific created object.
Do homework. Do the dishes. Do laundry. Household and academic tasks.
Do exercise, do yoga, do sports in some regional varieties of English, physical activities you perform.
Do business. Do a job. Do work. General professional or occupational activity.
Do someone a favor, an action performed for someone else's benefit.
Do your best. Do your duty. Effort and responsibility, but no specific new object being created.
Do research. This one's interesting because you could argue research produces new knowledge, but the emphasis is on the process, the activity of researching, not the finished product.
I want to try something. Give me a sentence with a blank, and I'll guess do or make.
Okay, I need a phone call.
Make a phone call.
Correct. Even though a phone call feels like an action, English treats it as something you produce. The call comes into existence when you dial.
Okay, let's try another one then.
I have my taxes.
Do. It has to be do my taxes.
Correct again. Taxes are a task you complete, not something you create from nothing.
This is actually starting to feel intuitive instead of random, which honestly surprises me.
That's exactly the goal. Once you've seen enough examples, your brain starts predicting the pattern instead of memorizing each phrase individually.
I want to bring up the exceptions, though, because I know English never makes anything this simple without throwing in some chaos.
You're right. There are a few. Do the shopping refers to the activity of shopping, but make a purchase refers to the actual transaction, the created outcome of buying something specific.
So the same general activity, shopping, splits into two different verbs depending on which angle you're looking at it from.
Exactly. Another tricky one, make an appointment versus do an errand. An appointment is something scheduled into existence. An errand is a task you're completing.
What about something like do a favor versus a similar phrase with make?
Do someone a favor is standard, but you'd say make an exception because the exception is a new rule created just for that moment, breaking the normal pattern.
My brain wants to just accept there will always be some exceptions and move on.
Honestly, that's the healthiest approach. Native speakers don't consciously think through the logic every time either. It becomes instinct through repeated exposure, not through memorizing a perfect rulebook.
I want to share something too, actually, because your story about the slides reminded me of my own second disaster with this.
There's more than one disaster. I thought the cake was the whole tragedy.
The cake was just the beginning. A few months later, in a meeting, I said, I'll do some changes to the document.
That's actually fine, though. Do changes isn't quite standard, but people would understand you.
Except I immediately followed it with, and then I'll make the final review.
Oh, and it should be the opposite. You'd typically say make some changes because the changes are new content being added, and do the final review because reviewing is an activity, not a created object.
I said both phrases backwards in the same sentence. Somehow managed to get it wrong twice in a row.
That's almost impressive. Most people only get it wrong once per sentence.
I've apparently always been an overachiever, just in the wrong direction specifically with this topic. I want to share one more story, actually, because it's genuinely the worst one, and I've been saving it.
Worse than the cake and the backwards changes? I didn't think that was possible.
In a job interview, years ago, Someone asked me what my greatest professional achievement was.
Oh no, I can already feel where this is going.
I said, I did a huge project that made the company a lot of money, which sounds fine actually, now that I say it slowly.
That does sound fine so far. What went wrong after that?
I then tried to elaborate and said I made the whole project from the beginning, planning, execution, everything, so I did all the credit for it.
I did all the credit for it. Oh, that's such a strange sentence.
The interviewer paused and I could see her trying to figure out what I actually meant. Did I take credit? Did I give credit to someone else? Did I create credit as some kind of object?
You accidentally invented a philosophical question about the nature of credit itself.
I did, in a professional interview, about a project I was trying to present as my biggest achievement.
What you meant, I assume, was I deserve the credit or I get the credit.
Exactly that. But somehow did all the credit came out instead. And there was no way to gracefully take it back once it was floating in the air between us.
And did you get that job at least?
I did actually, which tells you that one grammar mistake, even a genuinely strange one, doesn't ruin everything. People are more forgiving than we imagine in the moment.
That's actually a really comforting takeaway from an otherwise chaotic story.
I think chaos is basically the theme of my entire relationship with do and make.
Let's cover a few more common phrases people mix up constantly, because I think hearing more real examples will help solidify the pattern.
Make a difference. Something new comes into existence, a change, an impact.
Do the right thing. An action performed according to your values. No created object.
Make an effort. The effort itself is something you're generating through your energy.
Do your part, your role in a larger task, an action within a bigger system.
Make a suggestion. A new idea comes into the conversation.
Do a favor for someone, an action performed to help them.
I think the pattern that's clicking hardest for me is this. If I can ask, what did you create? The answer is usually make. If I can ask, what did you perform? The answer is usually do.
That's a genuinely excellent way to remember it. Create versus perform, object versus action.
Write that one down, actually. That might be the clearest version of this whole rule.
We really did just build an entire episode around one sentence, didn't we?
We did, but sometimes one really clear sentence is worth more than 50 scattered examples.
I want to add one more category before we wrap up. Set phrases that don't follow the logic at all and just need to be memorized as fixed expressions.
Oh, the ones where the rule just gives up completely.
Exactly. Those make sense. Doesn't create a physical object, but it's fixed this way and always has been.
Do well. Also doesn't fit neatly, but it's just how the language settled over centuries of use.
Make up your mind. A decision is being formed. So this one actually does fit the pattern if you think about it carefully.
Do harm doesn't create an object exactly, but harm as a concept can almost be seen as something generated, so even this one bends toward the pattern if you squint.
A few more worth knowing actually, since we're already deep into the exceptions. Make peace. Peace is treated as something built between two sides, created out of conflict.
Do damage. Similar to harm, an action with a negative result, but treated as a task performed rather than an object created.
Make a scene. Creating a dramatic moment, literally bringing a scene into existence through your behavior.
Do your homework versus make homework. Only the first one is correct, even though logically you could argue you're creating completed pages.
Right. And that's exactly where the logic has to bend to fixed usage. Homework already exists as an assignment before you touch it. You're completing it, not creating it from nothing.
Make an argument versus do an argument. Only make an argument works because the argument, the reasoning itself, is something you construct.
But have an argument, meaning a disagreement with someone uses neither do nor make at all, which is its own separate trap entirely.
English genuinely enjoys making this as complicated as possible sometimes.
Which is honestly reassuring. Even the strange exceptions usually have some thread connecting back to the core logic, even if it's a little stretched.
I think what I'm taking away from this entire episode is that do and make aren't actually random. They just require a completely different lens than the one my first language gave me.
That's true of so much of English. Honestly, not illogical, just organized around a different question than your native language asks.
What did you create versus what did you perform? I'm going to be thinking about that distinction every time I open my mouth for the next week.
Good. That's exactly the kind of awareness that eventually turns into instinct the same way it did for that woman with the slides. All right, let's do our word tour for today.
Let's start with make for creation and production. Make a cake, make a meal, make coffee, food-related creation. Make a plan, make a decision, make a choice, mental creations. Make a mistake, make an effort, make progress, things generated through action. Make money, make a profit, financial creation through effort. Make friends, a relationship created between two people from nothing.
Now, do for activities and tasks without a created object. Do homework, do the dishes, do laundry, household and academic tasks, do exercise, do yoga, physical activities you perform, do business, do a job, do work, general professional activity. Do someone a favor, an action performed for someone else's benefit. Do your best, do your duty, effort, and responsibility without a new object.
The exceptions worth remembering separately. Make an appointment, something scheduled into existence. Make an exception, a new rule created just for one moment. Make a phone call. Treat it as something produced, not just performed.
And the fixed expressions that don't follow the logic cleanly. Make sense? A fixed expression regardless of the creation pattern. Do well, fixed by long usage, not by strict logic. Make up your mind, a decision being formed into existence.
Make peace, peace built between two sides out of conflict. Make a scene, a dramatic moment brought into existence through behavior. Make an argument, the reasoning itself constructed and built. Your challenge this week: write 5 sentences about your actual day using do or make and check each one using the create versus perform test.
If you catch yourself making a mistake, that's honestly the best sign that you're paying attention. That's exactly how this becomes instinct.
And if you've ever made a cake and had someone ask what it did wrong, you're in very good company.
Or if you've ever accidentally invented a philosophical debate about the nature of credit in a job interview, also very good company.
We should probably start a support